All right, so in this video, I'm gonna show you how to convert my Classic and Deluxe Classic cocktail to be able to play the Pandora game card. So normally the Pandora game card is only compatible in this cabinet. This cabinet, what sets this machine apart from, say, this one, which is wrapped up, but you get the gist. You'll notice there's a missing panel. So this guy here. So if you get my Classic cocktail series, which is quite a bit less expensive, it's great because it can play these games. Games that play here are like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Frogger, but you can't play any of the two-player games. So on this side of the cabinet, you flip the lid up and it plays games like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Mario Brothers, Missile Command, Pitfall, most of your games released after 1985. So if you have a Classic cocktail or a Deluxe Classic cocktail that doesn't have, it's called a horizontal two-player control panel, step one, you're going to need to open the lid. You're going to need to remove the monitor and rotate it 180 degrees and put it back in, okay? So you'll see right now that that's the power cord, that's the VGA cable. Those are going to be up here. So flip the monitor 180 degrees. While you've got the lid open, right here there are going to be some bolts that look like this, okay? These are what anchor the control panels. So I want you to remove those. There's going to be 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you do that, you're going to be able to see the underside of the control panel, because the next thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to change, there's 2 wires that connect to each trackball. Think of it like this. Every cell phone has a charging cable that is unique to that cell phone. So like an Android has a certain charging cable, iPhone has a certain charging cable. Every board connects to the trackballs using a different trackball adapter. And so we're going to unplug these wires and replace them with, they look exactly the same, but it's a different format, so. Go. All right, so I'm assuming you have rotated your monitor 180 degrees. You've also opened your control panels. The next thing you're gonna need to do is unplug the old board, plug in your new board. So you're either gonna have a 60 game board or a 412 board, it doesn't matter. Here's basically your game board. This is what's called the harness, okay? This is your VGA cable, so you can back up a little bit. So unplug the monitor. Now, when you go to unplug this, pull it from the plastic piece. Do not tug on the wires. Don't want to rip those wires off. So now that you've got the board removed, here's what our new game board looks like. Pandora. Now I want you to notice that there's a notch and a space on your harness. It's going to be painted black. That black line is going to marry up with that notch. This is female. This is male. These are called fingers or teeth. So press that on. Make sure it's evenly pressed. Okay. Show that again. All right, then you're going to put the blue VGA monitor cable on your board, screw that in place. And then ultimately you're gonna be plugging in the trackballs. The trackball is gonna use a USB cable that looks like this, and it's gonna plug in right there. But first, we have to disconnect the old trackballs and set up the new trackballs. In addition, one thing I forgot to mention, on your board, on your 60 board, if you have trackballs, there's going to be 2 cables plugged in there. If you have the blue 412 board, there's only 3 things plugged into the board. There's this harness, the monitor cable, and then there's something else. The format doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you're going to unplug it, and that is not going to be used anymore. This Pandora board comes with its own unique trackball setup. This is kind of what the thing looks like, and in a second, I'm going to show you how you plug that in. So when you get the Pandora board, in addition, you're going to get something that looks like this. This is called a PCB. It's a circuit board. In addition, you're going to have 2 cables. Okay, there are going to be 2 sets of cables. One of them is going to be connecting to that trackball. The other one is going to connect to that trackball. And one of them is going to come from this, and it's going to connect into the card. So show me those. So when you get them, go ahead and plug them in. The black cable. So these cables are all going to be like wound up in a bundle. You need to take them in zip tie them in lengths about 6 inches apart. Otherwise it gets to be a mess, right? So the black one is going to go into the only place that it'll fit. So for example, if you tried to put that there, it just wouldn't fit, okay? That is your 2-player. You know the difference between the 1 and the 2-player. The 1-player side is going to have the start buttons. 2-player side does not. So the black goes here. The white cable plugs into the only place that it'll fit on this circuit board. That goes to your 1-player. And then the final thing is the USB. Okay, the USB plugs into the only place on the board that it's going to fit. So Sorry. This is what you're going to plug into your game card, the Pandora DX. Black cable, you're going to plug into the 2-player trackball. White cable, you plug into the 1-player trackball. You're good to go. Now, in addition, this trackball has an 8mm nut on the top of it. You're going to remove those. Now, when you go to put these back on, hand tighten them and tighten them a little bit past that. If you over tighten them, it'll clamp the trackball down and it won't spin. So just gently tighten those. This is the orientation that this trackball needs to sit in. Okay, this can sit in any of 4 directions. So it needs to have that exact orientation. And then you can see here, there's a cable. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna lift this trackball off, and then these cables pop off of here. There's like a little tab that holds them in place, but it's a little hard to get your fingers in there. But basically, once you've got that thing lifted up, you're gonna remove that and you're just gonna replace it. You see? So that's the old one. And you're gonna notice, here's the new ones. They look exactly the same. Okay, and then you're gonna fish that through here and set everything inside. Go. All right, so this is a trackball that I've removed. Again, make sure the orientation is correct. It can't be like that. Can't be like that. It's gotta be this way. Okay, and then, so the wires are different colors, just so you know. I always call this the Rastafarian. So the Rastafarian colors here are gonna lead on this edge. And you'll notice there's like a tab. One of the common things that people do is they'll misalign it, especially because if you're looking straight down on it, your depth perception can be messed up. So just make sure that all 4 of those pins. Also, when you go to remove this, do not pull from the wires. It's very easy to want to do that, but you'll break the wires off and then you have to replace the harness. So wiggle that off if you need to, get a tiny little flathead screwdriver or something. There's also a tab in the back if you need to kind of push on that, but it's not on there very hard. You can usually just kind of pop it off. So again, you're gonna take the existing wires that are currently on there. You don't need to like totally rip them out of the cabinet. Usually I just let them sit up here, it doesn't matter. And then you're going to take your new card, put it in here, and you're gonna run this through, there's an opening here. All right, and you're gonna connect to the new trackball. And then you're gonna take these 4 bolts, this one I'm just showing you, and then you're gonna line up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's a little hard to do. It takes a little finesse, but you line that up, slide that down. These bolts actually move, they're not rigid. Lock it down in place, put the 8mm nuts back on. You know, obviously put this one in the back as well. Okay, once you've got all that set up, you're gonna be good to go. I'll send you another video that shows how to set up the Pandora game card. You'll need to put the board on free play, otherwise you have to add quarters every time you want to use it. If you're curious, I'm gonna take this out of here. This is what a brand new Ultimate Cocktail looks like. So I've already got this installed, and then we put it through the tubing so that it looks clean. You don't have to do that. It's just for aesthetics for this one. But that's what the stock cabinet is gonna look like. And ultimately what you're doing is trying to replicate that. If you have any questions, let me know.